Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. AEW's Tony Khan and WWE's Nick Khan continue to fuel discussions and headlines. The so-called WWE vs. AEW war took an interesting turn during WrestleMania 41 weekend as Nick did media to promote the annual extravaganza. After several controversial remarks from the veteran executive, the wrestling world seems to be taking sides once again. Now, one major name has painted a unique picture of the debacle between Nick and Tony. The WWE president and the AEW president have made headlines together in recent years. Nick and Tony are both lifelong wrestling fans who are now leading their respective promotions through an exciting era. Nick appeared on the Bill Simmons podcast last week, and while he did not mention Tony or AEW by name, he did make several viral remarks on AEW, its roster, and Tony personally. Vince Russo is no stranger to controversy, but the Attitude Era writer cannot understand why Nick Khan would even mention Tony Khan. Speaking to Dr. Chris Featherstone on Wrestling's Writing with Russo, the former WCW World Heavyweight Champion expressed disbelief at the comments and recalled Charles Atlas' popular Want Muscles cartoon ads from old-school comic books, which featured a bodybuilder showing up a smaller man at the beach. Russo likened this to Nick versus Tony. The WWE president could be seen sitting at ringside during some of the WrestleMania 41 matches. Khan was also visible in assisting the woman that was knocked back by Steve Austin on Night 2. All Elite Wrestling is returning to New Orleans for the third time as Wednesday's Dynamite is scheduled to air live from Lakefront Arena. Below is the updated lineup. A special Collision episode will also be taped on Wednesday to air in its usual Saturday night time slot. The inaugural Playoff-Palooza Collision will feature a Tornado tag match with Top Flight versus CRU. The long-standing rivalry between WWE CEO Nick Khan and AEW President Tony Khan has now entered a brand new chapter, one that's being described by a well-known wrestling expert as a heavyweight showdown between a bodybuilder and a 60-pound wimp. These shocking comments, made exclusively to our team by a former backstage figure who's worked with both men, have already sparked a wildfire of debate in the wrestling world. As AEW continues to push its product aggressively on Wednesday and Saturday nights, and WWE basks in the mainstream spotlight following a record-setting WrestleMania 41 weekend, insiders say there's more than just TV ratings and pay-per-view buys separating the two Khans. There's bitterness, resentment, and perhaps most crucially, an unspoken war for industry dominance that's about to explode in the months ahead. According to our source, who asked to remain anonymous for fear of professional repercussions, the beef between Nick and Tony is absolutely personal now. You're not just looking at two guys running rival companies. You're watching two men who genuinely can't stand what the other represents. The former executive, who spent time in both Stamford and Jacksonville over the past 5 years, claims things hit a fever pitch after WrestleMania 41's second night delivered historic viewership numbers for Peacock and global social media engagement that dwarfed anything AEW has ever produced. That was a gut punch to Tony, the source said. And Nick knows it. He's not saying anything publicly, but believe me, the confidence in Stamford is sky high. Nick's walking around like a bodybuilder who just bench-pressed 500 pounds. Meanwhile, Tony's scrambling on Twitter, slapping at flies. While WWE stock continues to rise under the TKO umbrella, AEW is reportedly struggling behind the scenes with a mix of talent discontent, booking confusion, and internal reshuffling. Sources close to AEW suggest Tony Khan has grown more erratic in his decision-making, especially in the wake of WWE's high-profile acquisitions and cross-promotional moves with major brands. Tony's not built for this kind of fight, said the source. This isn't 2019 anymore, where AEW could ride the wave of novelty and revolution. This is war. And Nick Khan's the kind of operator who plays chess while Tony's still trying to beat him at Pong. The bodybuilder versus wimp comparison, though undoubtedly controversial, seems to reflect the growing sentiment among wrestling analysts who view the WWE-AEW dynamic as far less balanced than it once seemed. Former WWE creative writer Freddie Prinze Jr., now a podcaster and industry observer, recently hinted that the competition is no longer on equal footing. WWE is just operating on a different level, he said. From production to booking to brand perception, they've matured into a modern entertainment powerhouse. AEW still feels like a cool band in a dive bar. And that's fine, until the guy running the stadium next door drops a mega concert. This comparison isn't lost on the fans either. Social media has exploded in recent weeks with memes highlighting the disparity between how Nick Khan and Tony Khan are perceived in public spaces. Nick, often dressed in sleek business attire and flanked by Endeavor executives, is praised for negotiating billion-dollar deals and spearheading creative innovation without needing to insert himself into on-screen drama. Tony, on the other hand, continues to present himself as an excitable promoter, constantly defending his booking decisions on social media, sometimes clashing directly with fans. "This is where the problem starts," said a WWE insider. Tony wants to be Vince McMahon, Eric Bischoff, Paul Heyman, and Dave Meltzer all rolled into one. Nick doesn't want to be on camera. He doesn't want to be the face of WWE. He just wants to own the mountain, and that's why he's winning. The source also pointed out that while Tony's passion for wrestling is undeniable, it's often overshadowed by his lack of business discipline and over-involvement in granular booking details. Tony books AEW like a superfan who finally got the keys to the toy store. Nick runs WWE like a Silicon Valley startup that's taking over the globe. It's two completely different worlds. When asked whether AEW has any chance of leveling the playing field again, our source was blunt. It would take something seismic, a megastar defection, a change in leadership, a shift in strategy, because right now the momentum is entirely with WWE, and Nick Khan's not the type to coast. He's accelerating. Tony, he's spinning tires. This isn't the first time a wrestling insider has raised questions about Tony Khan's ability to lead AEW in its current form. Earlier this year, Jim Cornette openly criticized Khan's obsession with analytics and Twitter engagement over storyline coherence, calling AEW's product a house of cards held together by GIFs and hashtags. Others, including Eric Bischoff, have advised Tony to get out of his own way if he ever hopes to match WWE's mainstream penetration. But while criticism continues to swirl around Tony, there's also concern that Nick Khan's ambition could lead WWE into overly corporate waters, where passion and spontaneity are sacrificed for sponsorships and shareholder reports. The fear is that WWE could lose its soul, said a wrestling historian. But so far, Nick's managed to balance the business and creative sides better than anyone since Prime Vince. That's what makes him dangerous. The insider, who likened the rivalry to a bodybuilder and a 60-pound wimp, emphasized that the metaphor wasn't meant to insult Tony personally, but to highlight the imbalance of power. Tony Khan is not a 60-pound man. He's smart, educated, and passionate. But in this fight, in this environment, against this opponent, he's outmatched. It's not even close. Interestingly, sources within AEW say Tony is aware of how he's perceived and is privately planning a summer swerve that could shake up the industry. While details are scarce, there's speculation that Tony could be working on a high-stakes partnership or a surprise return for a major name. Possibly CM Punk, whose relationship with AEW remains complicated but not entirely closed. Tony needs a home run, said another insider. Not a bunt, not a single. He needs to blow the roof off. Because the wrestling world is watching, and Nick's got the spotlight right now. If Tony doesn't do something major by the end of the summer, we could see the beginning of a long, painful slide. As for Nick Khan, sources say he's not even thinking about AEW. He's looking beyond wrestling. He's thinking Hollywood, Vegas, Dubai. He's setting WWE up to be the next global media giant. Tony's still trying to beat WWE in the Wednesday night demo. That's the difference. While fans continue to choose sides in the online trenches, those inside the industry agree that the war is far from over. But if the experts' assessment is correct, Nick Khan may already have the tools, the momentum, and the muscle to end this battle before it truly begins. And for Tony Khan, the clock is ticking. Because no matter how loud your entrance music is, it doesn't matter if the audience is already watching someone else lift the heavy weight. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our WWE official YouTube channel for more update news.